Hey everybody, welcome back to Bar Run Forge. It's Troy, and today we're going to continue with our Monday morning tool series. Today's project is the Cold Chisel. This morning we're going to make the Cold Chisel out of coil spring. And this particular piece of coil spring is about 7 inches, between 7 and 7.5 inches long. It is what we think is 5160, which makes a good enough tool, especially for something like a chisel. So we're going to go through the process of forging that, and we'll do the heat treating, and we'll go through the majority of that process, and then we'll have a little bit of biblical reference to go along with it. So stick around and enjoy the video. All right, first item of business is to straighten the coil spring out. You can use whatever you got. Use the Hardy hole, or you can use the hammer and angle. Now that we have a fairly clean and straight piece of stock, the first thing we're going to do is work on the struck end. And we're going to make an octagon around this end, put a little bit of a dome on it. That'll probably be done with the grinder and the file. And that will be to try to eliminate or reduce the amount of mushrooming. Try to keep the impact on the top of the tool. After that, we'll put a flat in here so that you can index it with your hand so that you know where the chisel edge is. And then we'll work our way down to the working end, to the chisel. Nothing too complicated here. We're going to find one of our angles, put a flat in it to index. There we go. So now we have pretty much in line with our octagon, a place to be able to grip and index. And then what we'll do, we're going to go to the working end and line that up and make a flat part of our chisel with that index. One of the things you can see is we're going with a fairly steep or blunt angle. It's a cold chisel, so it's not going to have to be real long and sharp. It just has to be blunt. It has to have an edge on it. We do have a point where it's not exactly straight, and that's from the cut originally. That's okay. We're going to forge that out, and then we're going to grind it off. What I want to do is make a basic comparison between a store-bought cold chisel and our cold chisel. You can see their face goes a little bit longer, but the angle is basically the same. It doesn't really, not a whole lot of difference there. And the edge is, again, very blunt. So that's what we're going to go for. And ours is just a little bit longer, and I'm okay with that because it allows us to put our hand on it. Even though it's going to be cold work, we want to be able to see what we're doing. So now we're going to go through the heat treating process where we will normalize it, and then we will harden it, and then we will temper it. Now that we've done 3 normalizing cycles, we're now going to put it back in the fire, and essentially we're going to do about the first 3 inches or so. And once it's up to critical temperature, which is essentially non-magnetic, we're going to pull it out of the fire, quench it in the oil, which is a quenchable medium for 5160 coil spring steel. Then we'll pull it out, we'll scuff up the edge here so that we can see the colors run. When we start to see that, we'll put it back down in the oil, quench it off, and we'll do that a couple times. If we see that the colors aren't running anymore, we'll put the struck end back in the fire, and that way we can allow the heat to move up the tool toward the front. We've completed the heat treating process through the hardening and the tempering. We did 3 normalization cycles prior to hardening, and then we did a cycle of, actually 2, of tempering. You can see we have colors that are run down in here. We got into that little bit darker yellow, not quite into the purple. So at this point we are down to the finish to put an edge, again, a very blunt edge on the chisel. We'll finish up the struck end, kind of clean that up, put a little bit of a dome on it to concentrate the blows. The cold chisel. It's got several uses. Here in the shop, we can use it for like knocking off the end of a bolt or marking things out. It is very useful, very helpful when we're doing cold work, and it has to be at cold to use a chisel like this. It's been hardened, it's been tempered. It has a very short or blunt edge on it, and it's not very wide, but this is our cold chisel. This one we're going to use here in the shop. We're pretty pleased with it. But as you know, we always have a biblical message, a godly principle, if you will. So we're going to go to Job chapter 19, and we're going to look at verses 23 through 27. Listen to this. It says, "Oh, that my words could be recorded. Oh, that they could be inscribed on a monument, carved with an iron chisel, filled with lead, engraved forever in rock." But here's the important part. Listen to this. Verse 25 says, "But as for me, I know that my Redeemer lives, and he will stand upon the earth at last. And after my body has decayed, yet in my body I will see God. I will see him for myself. Yes, I will see him with my own eyes." I am overwhelmed at that thought. You know, we have a tendency to want to think we can do it all. You know, we can create tools. How impressive. And all that my words, all that I say and all that I do be recorded throughout history that I may be known. That's kind of human nature. However, the one thing I do know, but as for me, I know that my Redeemer lives, the one who has brought me out of the fire, who has redeemed me. And he will be the one last standing. That's God. Jesus has come to redeem us, to take our sins away from us. And after my body has decayed, after I'm dead and gone, I'll see the Lord. And he goes on to say that I will see him for myself. I'll see him with my own eyes. And here's the one that gets me at the very end. He says, "I am overwhelmed at the thought." Here at Bar Run Forge, we're unapologetically followers of God, followers of Christ. We know that our Redeemer lives, and I am so glad. I am overwhelmed at the thought that I have a Redeemer that will live forever, and that I get the chance, that I get the opportunity to live with him forever, even after this body is dead and gone. What an exciting idea to be overwhelmed with the thought of being with God forever. We hope that you enjoyed the video, and we hope that you come back to view more videos. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that reminder bell so that you could be informed about when our next videos come out. We'd love to have you back, and God bless you guys. Take care.